What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Dropping regular videos every day, regular streams every day for you guys. So I really appreciate everybody supporting the channel, everybody showing love, liking, commenting, whether you agree or disagree. It is very, very humbling and nice. Today, I wanted to talk about a couple of things on Ineos, Rashford, Ugarte, the Europa League squad list, and a couple other things. Firstly, let's start off with this. Christian Eriksen is registered in the Europa League squad for minutes in the group stage. We've got some difficult games in the group stage to play. I'm surprised that Kobe Mino's not registered in that list in the midfielders. They've registered Mason Mount, Bruno, Casemiro, Eriksen, but they haven't registered Kobe Mino. Maybe game management is something that they're thinking of, that they want to prioritize playing Kobe in Premier League and Cup games more, and see out the Europa League group stage with Eriksen, and I understand why, but I think it's almost like, obviously, I look at football very differently, right? And this is what I want to bring. My perspective is what I want to bring to you guys. It's Eriksen is getting paid, and he has to make his money somehow, right? They have to justify paying him somehow. And I think playing him in the Europa League game is Ineos' way of kind of saying, we've got to play the players that are getting paid. Do you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. And that's exactly what it's come down to for me anyways. That's how I'm interpreting it. Harry Amas is registered as a defender as well in the UEFA Europa League squad, and I don't know if Harry Amas is fully ready yet to play that level of football, but probably be on the bench more than anything, so that's fine. But Eriksen is a very interesting one. Euro's registered, which is good. Mount is registered, which I don't understand. I understand, but again, I don't really get excited by it. It's probably the wages he needs to play. They're paying him a lot of money, and play him in the Europa League. Couple of things on Ineos that I'm unhappy with this window. It is their first window, so I understand. But when I've mentioned in numerous streams, when a player like Ivan Toney comes up available, you have to buy him, plain and simple. You just have to. He would have been almost same or cheaper than Mason Mount, really, what we bought him for. Even if he cost around the same price tag as Mason Mount, we should have bought Ivan Toney. And this is a huge error made from Ineos, in my opinion. We should have, without shadow of a doubt, bought Sanderberg, and we also should have got Rabiot on a free. That way, it would have made it easier if we ever came across a situation where we needed to sell Casemiro, which we do anyways. He's got 2 years left on his contract, so next summer's probably the likely time that he's going to leave. And Christian Eriksen could have been moved on as well. And we missed out on those three players. Those three players would have elevated our squad a lot more. So I'm unhappy with Ineos in terms of that. Other than that, though, Ineos have backed Erik ten Hag fully, Selling Scott McTominay and getting Ugarte in, everybody's happy, no problem, all fine and good. But I would have preferred if the net from Scott McTominay's sale and Ugarte's purchase is around 17 million, between what Ineos would have to pay out. It would have been better if we actually moved on Eriksen and kept Scott McTominay, in our squad. And I don't think Scott McTominay coming off the bench would have harmed anyone, in all honesty. He's given us 7 goals last season, if I'm not mistaken, and depends on how the season shapes out, the odd goals and involvements that he'd had. Are we going to miss it? A lot of you are going to disagree with me, and I understand why. I brought it up last stream that I spoke on last night. Napoli won the season, then they had a diabolical season. Now they're trying to bounce back. Clearly, they bought Lukaku, they bought a defender, I forgot his name, and then they bought the guy from Brighton as well, and they bought Scott McTominay. Trying to bounce back. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. Marcus Rashford. Here's my thing on Marcus Rashford. The more I think about Marcus and the more I look at his performances and how he's been starting over the course of the years under Ten Hag, I've started to piece together this thought of mine that I actually don't think Marcus is doing anything on purpose or like playing bad because of form. I actually don't think that. The manager said that he will let Marcus play out of form, but I almost feel like everything that Marcus is doing is actually instructional. Or else, why would he play him every game? That's one. Example number two is Bruno Fernandes plays every game because obviously he's the captain, and also maybe instructional of what Bruno's doing, and he's so important in Erik ten Hag's eyes that he plays every game. But Marcus, I think, funny enough, right? Marcus does the things we don't like, but starts every game. Ahmad does the things we like, but doesn't start every game. How is that? He's obviously pushed away Anthony. Garnacho started against Liverpool. He's got a lot of faith in Garnacho as well. But there's going to be a creeping conversation to be had about Alejandro sooner or later, because you're just looking at glimpses of errors that he's making. Last season, was it Bournemouth game, or if I'm not mistaken, was it Bournemouth game? He made that mistake with a bad pass that led to a goal. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then against Liverpool, he made a bad pass again, and De Ligt had to save him, and he picked up a yellow card, and then Garnacho got subbed off after that. It seems like the manager's playing the wingers based on the instructions that he's given them, and they are following. So I'm going to ease off on Marcus a little bit, because how can you go from being a demonic runner, absolutely toasting fullbacks, to just blatantly not attacking spaces and stopping and recycling the ball and passing it backwards and trying things? I'm noticing certain actions from Rashford, for example. His passing to the strikers are very good. This is something, we don't credit him for. We have a lot of expectation from him. We obviously think of Marcus as one of our saviors. I do anyways. And the pressure that we put on him is also kind of hindering the way we look at his performances. I think it is instructional. I saw last season, and I've put clips out there, obviously, from where I sit in Old Trafford. I put clips out there of Erik ten Hag telling Marcus not to track back. There's videos out there. You can just go on my Twitter page and type in Marcus and Erik ten Hag, and it'll probably come up the video where Erik is telling him to stretch the back line and stay in his position and not track back. This season, he's doing a little bit more running back, but in terms of attacking the space, running in behind, he's not trying to have it. He's trying to play him into more of a possession-based kind of winger, and that's not working as much. But one thing I can't deny is Marcus has fantastic passing. He really does have fantastic passing, especially to the strikers. It's just he needs to do it more often than anything. I think if under a different manager, someone with a bit of sense and adaptability, I think Marcus plays totally different football. So I'm a lot of people are, saying he should sell him, we should sell him, blah, blah, blah. But I think if Manchester United remove the manager and bring in a competent manager anyways, who plays to the player's strengths, I see Marcus playing a totally different type of football. I really do. Considering how many different managers he's played under and the numbers that he can put up on the board, there's something not right here. How are you picking a player week in, week out, but we're not liking what he's doing? It can only be the football that you're instructing him to play. There's no other way of me justifying it. Obviously, I've spoken a lot about Erik and Erik ten Hag and him being out and why I think he should be leaving Manchester United and not be the manager. But I want to pose a conversation to you that I spoke on the stream last night, and this is something I want you guys to comment on. In the comment section, I want you to guys get involved with this. Is nails in the coffin, right? How many nails in the coffin before it's game over for Erik ten Hag? For me, Anthony is a nail in the coffin. Situation with Sancho is a nail in the coffin. Losing the treble against Man City is is a nail in the coffin. But then people say it's not because we had injuries that game and we didn't have certain players that played in the FA Cup the season after. Not playing Ahmad enough is a nail in the coffin. 7-0 Liverpool. Is that a nail in the coffin? I've not mentioned Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, Palace. I've not mentioned these games. Champions League coming last in the Champions League. Is that a nail in the coffin? I think so. Yeah. 5 nails already. Negative goal difference in the Premier League coming 8th. Nail in the coffin. So that's 6 nails. How many nails in the coffin? Malacia, you can't blame him for the injury. Okay. I understand. Situation with Ronaldo, a lot of mixed about that, so I understand. There's a couple of nails in the coffin, I can't lie. Buying an entire back line from Ajax, is that going to end up being a nail in the coffin? Because, okay, so I've identified 6 nails in the coffin. That is Anthony, situation with Sancho. What else did I say now? Not playing Ahmad enough. Last in Champions League, coming 8th. What else was I thinking? There's a couple of things I was thinking. It's just so many nails in the coffin. Playing Bruno Fernandes, week in, week out. Is that going to be a nail in the coffin for him as well? His press conferences is definitely a nail in the coffin. What he says in the press conference, he does something else. What he says in the press conference, something else happened, and he lies or he kind of mixes it over somehow. It's definitely a nail in the coffin. He said that he can't play Ajax football here. We have so many of Eredivisie players in Manchester United. Match days, you've got the whole of Ajax backline, including the keeper. That's 5 players already. 4 players, right? You've got Anthony, that's the 5th player. Bro, that is a lot of players in your team that you've brought in from another team. You have Malacia who'll come back eventually. That'll be the 6th player. And there are players on top of that he wanted. And he's got in last season as well. For example, he had Weghorst. Do you know what I mean? So, the season before, Weghorst. So, he's had a lot of players from Ajax for him to say he can't play Ajax football now. So, the buck has to stop this season. The playing out from the back, why is it not happening when you have the entire back line? And then, Dallow's an exception because he can play anyway. So, a proper back line with a keeper and you're not playing out from the back and you're just playing anyhow. The football has to change immediately. We've got Southampton to play in a week's time. If there is no clear, exact changes, then there's a big problem. He doesn't need time to work with Martinez and De Ligt. He don't need time to work with Mazraoui. These are players he has coached already. Do you know what I mean? He has to be seeing something with Mazraoui, De Ligt, Anthony, Martinez, these Onana, these routines and these patterns that he talks about. There should be loads of things coming up. Mazraoui and Anthony played together. I'm being told that he's brought in Mazraoui because of the connection Mazraoui had with Anthony. I want to see this on the pitch. I need to see this on the pitch. Malacia, when he comes back, I need to see him on the pitch. I'm happy for Dalot to be benched for Malacia to come in because that is his player. He's brought him in. Do you know what I mean? The routines have to work. And this is where I'm happy with Ineos, the level of backing they've given him. Obviously, I'm not happy that Ineos sold Scott McTominay to bring in Ugarte because I think Ugarte is a fantastic player. He should come in anyways. We should have brought him in anyways, but we should have kept Scott McTominay. And we should have also brought in Rabiot, and we should have parted ways with Eriksen instead. Registering Eriksen for the Europa League final. Europa League group stage. Yeah. I don't understand that at all. We've got Fenerbahce. We've got... Who else do we have? We have Porto. These are big games, bro. Really, really big games. How are we going to... Who else? Rangers. Bro, big games to play. And how we gonna manage with Eriksen? Who do we have in the midfield? We've got Eriksen, Casemiro, Mount, Ugarte, and Bruno. Bro, that is shocking. That is shocking. I don't like that one bit. we've got FC20, Porto, Fenerbahce, and the team that Tingishola Shorotiri, the Greek team, not Ranger. Yeah. I don't understand how we're going to win some of those games. I really don't. And I wanna put a lot of pressure on the strikers this season, because strikers in Manchester United, you need to score goals. Rasmus Højlund is someone that he wanted. I don't know what kind of talent ID that is, or how the club identified it, or who identified it. Xerxes is another one that he wanted instead of bringing in Ivan Toney. Again, the club identified it as well, and they brought him in. These two strikers, I like Xerxes. I don't know about Rasmus yet. I see potential, but it's a long way away. It's a lot of goals that need to be coming from them two strikers, and they're not even full out and out number 9. Both of them, they say they're a 9.5 inside forward, blah blah blah. But we needed an out and out striker, and that's something that he didn't get, and he got the players that he wanted. So how the football changes is going to be interesting. We've been very active this summer. Ugarte doesn't come and solve this problem. I explained this on the stream last night. People think Ugarte comes in next to Casemiro and he solves the problem. It doesn't. Casemiro is a specialist player. He specializes in winning the ball. He specializes in breaking up the play and moving the ball to the player next to him. People forget, Ugarte and Casemiro together, there is another player, in midfield that has to come in and help them two out. And just Ugarte alone doesn't help that. Bruno Fernandes is a big hindrance. People are saying that I hate Bruno Fernandes, I've got an agenda or this, that. It's not that. The football that we are trying to see doesn't suit Bruno Fernandes. I don't understand how people do not see it. If we played counter-attacking low block 3 at the back, Bruno Fernandes does absolute madness. Marcus Rashford does madness. But the 4-2-4, the 3-1-6, all of these things that this manager's trying, it doesn't work. The 4-2-3-1 even, it won't work. Because Ugarte is similar to Casemiro. Who is going to be our ball carrier? People are mentioning Mason Mount in there like he's going to be some maverick. He's not. He's absolutely not. Now, if you brought in Sander Berg, would have made a lot of difference. Don't forget, the two midfielders between Casemiro and Ugarte, eventually someone has to carry the ball forward and pass it to Bruno Fernandes. It would make sense if you actually play Bruno Fernandes in the 8 and Kobe Mino in the 10. It would make a lot more sense. We would absolutely cook, but the manager won't do that. It's so obvious, especially after the Liverpool game. And there's no disrespect to Kobe Mino, but he cannot be an 8. They ran through him. And two players in the midfield who aren't going to be competent enough in between them to keep the ball, hold the ball, move the ball, progress it, beat a press, get out of tight situations. We are still going to get found out. We are still going to get exposed. And players' deficiencies are going to show. And this is something I need you guys to strap in for. Really strap in for. Because just see how Liverpool exposed us, right? And I don't know if Liverpool are thinking of winning the league or whatever. I don't think they're that, they're that level yet in terms of competing with Man City. They might be in conversation for 3rd and 2nd. But West Ham's, Villa's, Brighton already beat us. But those sorts of teams, Spurs, Bournemouth, they're going to bop us in midfield because they're just going to inject a load of energy. Ugarte and Casemiro just not going to be enough. You're going to need the 10 to drop in to help out in midfield. And that means Bruno Fernandes. And that is not something that is going to happen. The free reign that Bruno's been given, the designer role that he's been given, he's not a designer player. A designer player is someone like Kudus, is someone like Cole Palmer, Foden. Do you know what I mean? Musiala, these are designer players. Bruno Fernandes is not a designer player. He should be playing in the 8. He's already got, load of running and legs as it is. Play him in the 8. That's why Fred helped out so much. He didn't do a lot. He just ran around a lot. And tried to pass it on forward when he can. And you got Casemiro going up further in the field as it is as well. Then Ugarte's been left alone. It's just the system just doesn't work in the Premier League. It doesn't. You need exceptional footballers in there to work the system that he's trying to do. And if that's the case, then it's the same as throwing money at buying the best players in the world. You know, there would be no talent ID and there would be no development. And we don't have the money like that anyways. The system that we're playing, it won't benefit any of these players at all. And the point is, he's not going to change the system. The 4-2-4, Marcel mentioned it, that the 4-2-4 has been instilled by Ineos. Even if it has, the manager on the pitch has the ability to change the system and bring something out of the game, and he doesn't. And players like Rashford are, in my opinion, doing what the manager's telling him to do, and he's playing the football that nobody likes. Amad Diallo plays the football that we like, you know, and the manager doesn't play him. Casemiro, again, a specialist player, being asked to do things that we bought him not to do. Do you know what I mean? We brought a DM that we were begging for to break up the play, yet he ended up, scoring loads of goals for us, and now we're asking him to go further up on the pitch. It doesn't make sense. Casemiro can still play, by the way. Can still play. I'm not gonna just easily say that he's finished and whatever. Sell him next summer because he's got 1 year left in his contract. I understand, but within this season now, within his time in Manchester United, he's had very good games. Just naturally, you will, but he's had more games where we've highlighted his deficiencies, and in Real Madrid, they played a way where they didn't show his deficiencies. They put players around him to help him. And that's what we need to be doing, because what he does fantastically. He specializes in tackles. He specializes in breaking up play. He specializes in winning the ball back. And he's not a specialist when it comes to protecting the ball. He is not. Yet we are asking him to do that. And that's nobody's fault but the manager's, because he knows. He absolutely knows. Brought in Andre Onana, doesn't play up from the back. Nails in the coffin. These are nails in the coffin. And how many more nails do we have left before the coffin is sealed shut? For me, it's sealed shut anyways. But then people are like, okay, Rashford, look at how many he got, 30 GA in one season under Ten Hag. That's 1 nail out the coffin. Garnacho being an impactful player, that's 1 nail out the coffin. Dallo, improved loads under him. That's 1 nail out the coffin. But even Garnacho, man, big conversations. Big conversations. Why is Anthony not playing? Because that's your player. I don't want to see him play. But what's going on with Anthony, bro? What is really going on with Anthony? Mazraoui's here now, so he's got the fullback that he's worked with. It's all a shit show and shambles. All a shit show and shambles. But the big point that I wanted to make today is I feel like we're going to miss Scott McTominay. And Marcus Rashford is probably playing the football that the manager's telling him. That's why we're not liking it. You guys discuss in the comments what you think. The UEFA Europa League squad has Eriksen and Casemiro and Mount in it. And we're going to get bopped off the park. Bopped off the park. I'm dreading going to Turkey to watch Fenerbahce. Absolutely boppers. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment as usual. I really appreciate that. I'll get back at the comments and reply to as many comments as I can. And I'll be live later on tonight as well. So regular videos, regular lives every day for you guys. I really appreciate it. Take care. Peace, love, and guidance. And I'm out.